You know, I got to tell you, there is a new breed of entitled media that can just call players anything they want, anytime they want, and there's no repercussions. I blame it on the idiotic debate shows that we see every morning, but it's extended into legacy television media, and I hate it, and people should be fired. I'll explain right now as Don't At Me starts her up. I want you to listen to this. I want you to listen to this on national television. I want you to listen to this on NBC. A retired player talking to a current player about another current player. And listen to the word that Rodney Harrison, the retired player, uses. This was going to be our open, and apparently this is disgusting. This is ridiculous that Rodney Harrison can use the word garbage, that he can use the word garbage to describe another player, send a little apology note to Zach Wilson, and away we go. Now that's garbage. Look, I did a broadcast. I broadcast some of the biggest games in college basketball for 10 years. And I got to tell you, I'd never described a player anywhere near that. I would say that was not a very smart play. I would say he needs to be better. But when you describe a player as human waste, i.e. garbage, you should be fired immediately. But this is the word. We got that video? We got that audio? This is what we're talking about, though. This is the new breed of media. Guys absolutely don't have any sense of entitlement, any sense of anything. They got nothing. What do they got? They know there is going to be no repercussion. They know there is nobody big as strong. They know in African Americans' case, if they get fired, they can simply claim racism and get some money from a network. That's what's going on here. I know people don't want to hear this, but this is exactly what's going on. Rodney Harrison, had he said that, or had a white journalist, I guess you want to call Harrison a journalist, a white dude, said this about a black quarterback, people would be losing their mind, and rightfully so. And we should rightfully so be losing our mind that this is said about anybody. This is the new term. Oh, he's trash. Oh, he's garbage. Oh, he's this. Oh, he's that. And it's awful. It's god awful. Here's the video.
But watching that tape, man, you got to look at this dude and say, oh, he is garbage. Like, we should really tear him apart. Earlier, like I said, Zach Wilson is special, man. You just got to give the guy time. You know what I mean? Wait. Did you say Zach Wilson is special? Yeah. I think he had a special night, but I don't think he's special.
You called a man garbage on national TV, on network TV. And all he did was send a little apology. He just sent a little apology, that's all. And everything's fine. Robert Saleh took up for him. There is no apology from this. Understand this. There is no apology. You said what you said to millions of people. And like everything else, and we'll get into this Trevor Bauer deal here in a minute, but like every single thing else, ladies and gentlemen, the apology doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. You cannot, I think, in a civilized world, call anybody garbage. But for some reason, we feel it to be okay. For some reason, we think it's all right. For some reason, it just slips through, gets through, and is fine. Oh, just send him a little apology. Just say a little something, something, and we're on our way. What? Are you insane? Are you nuts? That's ridiculous. That's asinine. And he should be fired immediately. There's 8 million other guys that can do this job. There are so many other people that can do this job, and this guy just sends an apology. You can't call people garbage. Like, it drives me nuts watching Stephen A. Smith. Look, I was never good enough, tough enough, whatever, to be an NBA player. So you don't hear me calling people garbage. You don't hear me discarding them as trash. Now, dumbass, yeah, I mean, and James Harden, dumbass. And we're going to talk to some folks from Philadelphia today. But honest to God, straight up garbage is what this man said. And it's unbelievable. It's truly unbelievable. Just switch that around a little bit. Just switch that to the other side. Switch that to a white dude calling an African-American garbage. Hell, Kirk Herbstreit would cry on air. Chris Ballard would cry on Zoom. Randy Moss would break down and he would cry. Oh, the overt racism. But it's all right, just call a white dude who had a hell of a night. Had a hell of a night. Garbage. Yeah, I don't get it. And I'll never get it. I don't understand it, and I'll never understand it. I won't. I'm sorry. And until somebody can explain it to me, I got to ask you, why does that man still have a job? Speaking of still having a job, Lou Holtz, ladies and gentlemen, Lou Holtz is still messing with Ohio State. Now, I don't know that this is any big thing. I don't think this is any, kind of a deal. But I got to ask you a question. All right? I got to ask you a question. Why is everybody so up in arms about Lou Holtz? Lou Holtz had Ohio State in its top 5 in the Sweet 16 poll, the Big 16, which is basically, like who's really under consideration for the playoff, right? Well, he dropped him to 9, and people are losing his mind. They're losing his mind because he dropped them. Look, maybe Lou Holtz sat in there and said, you know what, I watched some teams. You're off. It really doesn't matter. But I watched some teams, and I liked them, and they're better than Ohio State. I wasn't that shot in the ass with Ohio State. I didn't think they were that great. I thought they were all right. I didn't think they were that great. But hey, he dropped them to 9th, and people, Holtz is taking more shots. Yes, he is. Of course he is. And good for Lou Holtz. Look, I'm 61, and I'd do the same thing, and I wouldn't give a rat's ass, not even a little bit, about anybody being mad about it. At 86, with FU money, oh, man, I'd be doing it like every single minute of every single day. Are you kidding me? It would be like my job, my occupation. It would be, my hobby to mess with whoever I could because the stuff just ain't that important. So good for Lou Holtz. Good for people being up in arms. It's what we do. It's unbelievable. It's really, if you look at it, it's really funny. 86 years old and still, ladies and gentlemen, has everybody's attention. I'm down with that. I'm 1,010% down with Lou Holtz doing whatever he can to mess with people, and we sit there and we watch them get all hot in the crotch and all bothered about it. And I got to tell you, give me more Lou Holtz. Gimme. Seriously, wouldn't you? You got FU money, you're sitting in your house, you're a little bit bored. All right, the Giants got embarrassed last night, and this Brian Daboll guy, I know he's a fat guy, I know he eats sausage, and I know he looks like his face is going to implode. But everybody told me this guy's a great coach. Well, maybe he is, maybe he isn't. I don't know. But I know last night that team looked undisciplined, that team looked uninterested, unskilled, and frankly, they looked a mess. Now, again, I don't know whether Daboll is overrated. I have no idea. I know this, the NFL media, along with most media, is incredibly stupid. Incredibly stupid. I mean, you can't even begin. These guys want to be part of the scene. These guys want all the access, and you can't be critical because Daboll last year was the flavor of the month. Daniel Jones got sacked 10 times. Like, hey, I guess you could blame it on Daniel Jones, the interception to pick 6. But I got to tell you, I saw enough of Paris Campbell here to know that it would not surprise me if he didn't go the wrong way or he didn't move out of where he was supposed to be. I'm just telling you. We saw enough of Paris Campbell. We heard about Paris Campbell here at Indy. And that dude couldn't play dead. He couldn't play nothing. He could not play dead at all. Zero, zip, nada. Couldn't play. Daniel Jones was running for his life. And Brian Dable, I don't know. And, hey, credit Pete Carroll, man. And credit Geno Smith and that whole team. Hell, when Drew Lock came in, he looked good. Whatever Pete Carroll does, it works. Oh, by the way, I know a lot of you are asking on different places why I'm wearing black, because I'm in mourning. The Cubs were eliminated from the playoffs, so I'm wearing black all week as the playoffs begin. And don't even at me about it. You know, I'm so tired of players. I'm sorry, I am. I'm so tired of college players. They're giving me gas. They're making me gassy. They are. These guys are walking around like they ain't you, like they own the world, these guys. What do they own? They own, we got to pay attention to them for 4 or 5 years, and then they go on and be weight coaches, or they run a gym, or they're insurance salesmen. And this guy, Brevin Randall, he's not even going to do that. Brevin Randall's a player that no one's ever heard of at Louisiana Tech. He's suspended indefinitely for just stepping on the head, the neck of UTEP's Stephen Hubbard. That's right. He's just stepped on the dude's head. Like for no reason. Well, I'm sure there was a reason. Look at this idiot. He just stepped on his head. Guy's down, and this brave, this gladiator, this warrior, he stepped on the dude's head. Stomped him. Like trash, as Rodney Harrison would say. That's trash. I mean, that's a trash play. That's a trash move. But damn, you don't go stepping on someone's head. Now look, you're in a bar fight, you want to step on someone's head? Step on his head. You're fighting with your brother and you feel like you want to sit on his head and fart? Sit on his head and fart. Who cares? Go ahead. What are you going to do? But damn, you're in a football game and you're going to kneel on him, kick him, and push his head down, and then step on his head. We'll hear more from Brevin Randall, I'm sure. There will be arrests. There will be stupid stuff. Probably a claim of racism somewhere in the middle of all this. But as I've told you forever, it's always the same people. Speaking of the same people, it's always the same. NFL former players are becoming an absolute pox on our society. It's like every day one of these idiots, maybe they're CTE driven, maybe they're just stupid driven, I don't know. The latest clown, ex-NFL player, was a pretty good running back. He was, named Dion Lewis. I remember Dion Lewis coming out of college at Pittsburgh. He did a stint with a bunch of players, including the Patriots. But this idiot threatened to spit on local officials. He's at the Seminole Casino in Tampa. And by the way, I swear, Tampa is where evil goes. Don't go to Tampa. Evil will connect to you. It's the home of strip joints and bad stuff. I'm just saying. Anyway, so this clown, he's being a jackass because, well, when you're an ex-NFL player, you got to be a jackass. You got to let everybody know you're an ex-NFL player. How do you do that? By being a jackass. Lewis became belligerent in front of other casino patrons, calling officers, and advising he was not leaving the property because he did nothing wrong. Well, he did leave the property. He got the old silver bracelets, and not the silver bracelets with the furry kind that can be fun after an evening of, tequila, just saying. But anyway, that's right. He got arrested, just another in a long line of moronic ex-players. Boom. Hey, Aaron Rodgers, who's not an ex-player, doesn't seem to be a moron, has some interesting things going on in his life, reveals his goal. His goal for the rest of the 2023 season after his injury. Listen to this. His plan is to rejoin the team permanently after Week 7 bye. His goal is to play again this season. See, a little hashish, A little bit of sitting in a room in the dark gives the body healing powers. A little bit of psychedelics gives the body healing powers. See, I'm doing it all wrong. I'm taking baby aspirin, 1-a-day vitamins, a concoction of a bunch of stuff, throwing an antidepressant, a piss medicine, and a Viagra, and that's a day for me. This dude's got it figured out. Get yourself some psychedelics. Get in a room. Hash it out with your own body, and next thing you know, you can recover from an Achilles tear. This is sad news, but it's good news. Trevor Bauer was accused of all sorts of heinous things. Trevor Bauer, at the time, was Major League Baseball's highest paid pitcher. At the time, Trevor Bauer was a Cy Young winner, and all of a sudden, a little bit of sex gone wrong, and Trevor Bauer has been suspended from Major League Baseball for 2 years. He's pitching out in Japan and apparently doing okay, at least what I've been able to see. Well, he settled the lawsuit with the skank woman that he was alleged to have assaulted. Now, here's Bauer, after 2 years of hell, finally getting to say what he has held back from saying or been told to hold back from saying. And remember, I have a 25-year prosecutor, domestic violence, in my family, my sister. She was a domestic violence prosecutor at Monroe County, which is Bloomington, Indiana. Saw horrific things. And she, when everybody was saying, always believe the woman, she would laugh at that and she goes, oh, crap, are you kidding me? Damn near never believe the woman, but never believe the guy. Find out the facts. So here's Bauer spitting some pretty indisputable facts here.
Next victim, star pitcher for the Dodgers. A text Lindsey Hill sent to a friend before she ever even met me. What should I steal? She asked another, in reference to visiting my house for the first time. The answer? Take his money. So how might that work? I'm going to his house Wednesday, she said. I already have my hooks in. You know how I roll. Then, after the first time we met, net worth is 51 mil, she said. Bitch, you better secure the bag, was the response. But how is she going to do that? Need daddy to choke me out, she said. Being an absolute whore to try to get in on his 51 million, read another text. Then, after the second time we met, former Padres pitcher Jacob Nix told her, you got to get this bag. I'll give you 50,000, Lindsey replied. Her AA sponsor asked her at one point, do you feel a tiny bit guilty? Not really, she replied. Since then, her legal team has approached me multiple times about coming to a financial settlement. But, as I have done since day one, I refuse to pay her even a single cent. In August of 2021, Lindsey Hill's claims were heard in court, and during those legal proceedings, critical information was deliberately and unlawfully concealed from me and my legal team. Information like this video, which was taken by Lindsey Hill herself the morning after she claimed she was brutally attacked, emotionally traumatized, and desperate to get away from me. And now we have the metadata, so there can be no dispute. It was taken mere minutes before she left my house on the morning of May 16th, 2021. Without my knowledge or consent, of course. In it, you can see her lying in bed next to me while I'm sleeping, smirking at the camera without a care in the world, or any marks on her face. I think it paints a pretty clear picture of what actually happened the evening of May 15th, and why the video was originally concealed from us. After hearing the evidence available to her, Judge Diana Gold-Saltman found that Lindsey Hill had misled the court. She found her claims to be materially misleading. She denied her request for a domestic violence restraining order, and she found that no sexual assault or non-consensual conduct took place. Now, some of you might not know about restraining order hearings. I know I didn't, but I've since learned that it's extremely rare for a request for a restraining order to be denied because the standard of proof that you need to obtain one is extremely low. So you can make of that what you will. The fact is, I was never arrested. I was never charged with a crime, and I won the only legal proceeding that took place without my side of the story even being heard. And most importantly, as I've said from day one, I never sexually assaulted Lindsey Hill, or anyone else for that matter. So I sued her, which prompted her to countersue me. Quite frankly, regardless of the outcome in court, I've paid significantly more in legal fees than Lindsey Hill could ever pay me in her entire life. And I knew that would be the case going in. But the lawsuit was never about the money for me. It was the only way for me to obtain critical information to clear my name. The discovery process in that lawsuit recently concluded, at which point Lindsey Hill's legal team again came to us with another proposal to resolve the case. This time, however, they weren't seeking any money from me. Having received much of the information that had been hidden from us, a small portion of which I've referenced here, I was willing to agree to the terms proposed. Both parties would drop their respective lawsuits, and neither of us would pay either side any money. I also retained my right to speak publicly about the case, something I have not been at liberty to do since June of 2021. So, as of today, both lawsuits have been settled. Now, over the last 2 years, I've been forced to defend my integrity and my reputation in a very public setting. But hopefully this is the last time I have to do so, as I'd prefer to just remain focused on doing my job, winning baseball games and entertaining fans around the world. So today, I'm happy to be moving on with my life.
Yeah, good for him. Good for him, man. Look, the idea that we believe all women is total nonsense. As I told you, my sister, a 25-year prosecutor, made that very clear to not only me, but it's certainly her son, my son, and my nephew Pete. They're all the same age, these boys. But she also warned him of women like this cretin here, this gold diggings clown that decided I'm going to get my hooks into a big league ball player. I mean, look, big league ball players are dumb sometimes, but everybody's dumb sometimes. And Trevor Bauer, a guy named John Heyman, wrote an article which was titled, "Bauer Has Lost His Career and Deservedly So." You'll never hear John Heyman, who by all accounts is a famous baseball writer, apologize. You will never hear any of these fools apologize because our print media is the worst. Now, we're lucky here at OutKick that we have great people. But the national print media, the dudes that are out there, the Greg Doyles of the world, the John Heymans of the world, the Dana Bembaus of the world, this Molly Knight, who reported that this woman had a fractured skull. That's right. This idiot Molly Knight works for The Atlantic, and she got fired, I guess, I don't know. Molly Knight is her name, not Wright, Knight. She, honest to God, wrote that this girl got her skull fractured. I looked up Molly Knight. Molly Knight is now basically unemployed, and of course, her Twitter is protected. Of course it is. This lady, Molly Knight, is a ridiculous fraud for printing that. It's all in The Athletic. It's in the affidavit. This woman, of course, went cowardly like all writers do when they're wrong. Ain't nothing wrong with John Heyman or Molly Knight coming out and saying, hey, what can I tell you? I got it wrong. But they can't do it. They can't do it because they're little posses that get a little bit of power and they don't know how to handle it. John Heyman is a little scrawny guy like Doyle that got a little bit of suck as they've gotten older. A little bit. And like politicians, they don't know how to handle it. They're the worst of the absolute worst. I got a guy from Iowa telling me, no, there's some really good writers. Yeah, Armando is. Yeah, the guys that write here are. But we're not bound by the same stupidity of USA Today. We're not governed. You can write freely here and you can write the truth without fear of retribution as long as it's the truth. Can't do that in mainstream media, or they won't do that in mainstream media. There's got to be a bias. There's got to be an angle. There's got to be a push. If you're a woman, there's got to be a push. If you're black, got to be a push. If you're white, got to be a push. Got to be some kind of bias. I learned the other day, this was pretty funny. I know that if you do not agree with the liberal side, you will be called a name. I got a family member that calls me far right. I'm like, really? I don't even know what that means, but I get it. You're a liberal, so I'm far right. You got to call me a name. The world is insane. Good for Trevor Bauer. Cubs, sign Trevor Bauer. I'll wear a damn Trevor Bauer jersey, and you can kiss my backside on any of it. Any of it. Because this is absurd. Now, is Bauer 100% accurate? I don't know, but I know this. The woman that reported it, Molly Knight, fractured skull, was wrong. John Heyman was wrong. This guy's got actual proof, but I'm telling you, you won't see these cowards apologize. I've said this forever. Guys like Greg Doyle, Dana Bemba, they worry about what I say. If I went into their actions, what they have done, you'd be shocked. It's all about what you say with these people, and they're full of shit. Sorry, I'm trying not to swear. All right. Here's a shocker. You want to know something else full of crap? The American College of Sports Medicine puts out a no blank, Sherlock, statement of the century. No, Sherlock. Biological sex, listen to this, is a primary determinant of athletic performance because of fundamental sex differences in anatomy and physiology dictated by sex chromosomes and sex hormones. You got to be kidding me. No way. No way. Are you crazy? You mean to tell me that you're saying that a man, because of biology, let's just make that, is a better athlete than a woman? Oh, do tell. Wait, I thought Leah Thomas was just, great and to be celebrated. Really? Wow. Can you imagine? I always think about this. Can you imagine, I don't know, 25, 30 years ago, this had to be stated? We're going so backwards as a society. Hey, by the way, guys, the American College of Sports Medicine is saying that boys are better athletes than girls. Ucha capesta, my eyes are burning. Really? Seriously. We have to have a statement for this. We have to have a journal. The American Sports Journal has to come out and tell us this? Really? All right. If you say so, yay, Rob, go fight, win. But just think about that for a second. Think about it. They have to tell us that. Really? God, who would have thunk it? Oh, my God. I didn't know. Who would know? I don't know, but I'm shocked. Hey, by the way, if you're looking to bet on PointsBet and you're looking to bet in the NBA, the Drew Holiday trade, getting rid of Malcolm Brogdon and crazy-ass Robert Williams and whatever else they got rid of, the Celtics are now tied with the Bucks for NBA title favorites. That's right. It's not the Warriors. Now, look, I've already seen, I got up at 4:15 this morning. Because here's the deal. Guys, listen up. Come in close, guys. Come here. So my wife had like a 6 o'clock flight to the airport. She was going to take an Uber. I said, look, when we were dating and you had to catch an early flight and you were staying here for the weekend, you had to catch an early flight, I always got up and took you to the airport. I got to treat you like we're dating. You're not taking no Uber. What are you, crazy? Not taking an Uber. Guys, treat your wife like you're dating. Treat her like your girlfriend. Boom. It's good advice. Now, on the flip side of that, Saturday, she's coming home, and I was going to pick her up, but my brother, we're going to play golf over here at Crooked Stick, which is an internationally famous golf course that I get to play once a year. So, hey, maybe her daughter can pick her up. You know how that goes. What can I tell you? It is what it is. Danny Z is going to join us. Look, Philadelphia is the epicenter of sports right now. Anthony Gargano is the man in Philadelphia. The Phillies are playing today. The Eagles are 4-0. Philadelphia, we got James Harden acting like a child. I got to figure this all out with him. Danny Z had a hell of an article comparing Donald Trump. Listen to this. I like this. Ready? Where is it? Where is it here? Get out of here. Get. Comparing Donald Trump and Deion Sanders. We'll be right back.
Looking for the hottest sportsbook offers? At OutKick, find exclusive promotions, expert picks, and the latest odds. Get in the game at OutKick.com/bet.
Folks, TikTok serves us the dumbest filth the interwebs have to offer, and at this point, I think people just make up mental conditions or identity delusions to go viral, like this woman who is patting her soon-to-be ex-husband on the back for being supportive of her newfound gayness. Watch.
Early this year, I came out as gay to my husband, soon to be ex, and he had the sweetest and most amazing reaction. And this is what he said. What did you say?
I said that I was so proud of you, and that was the bravest thing I've seen anyone do.
And now we are going our own separate ways, and we're about to put this house on the market. And that's all she wrote. Be like my ex-husband. Be that good of a person.
So I don't know that woman or that man, but by the looks of him, the hostage look in his eyes and the sounds of her, I would venture to guess he's not necessarily stoked about his wife being a lesbian, but just rather happy he can leave her and have a socially acceptable excuse beyond just her baseline annoyingness. But why on God's green earth would this woman post something like that as if she's celebrating or gloating about it? Furthermore, I hope she doesn't get a dime in the divorce because she misled him. He should honestly cite fraud and take possession of whatever she has of value, which doesn't appear to be much outside of maybe that sterling silver on her nose ring. But anyway, not the point. The point is, we have entered into a weird space in 2023 I really can't even keep up anymore. Now, a new survey from Change Research shows that a whopping 55% of millennial and Gen Z women find it a turnoff if their partner listens to the Joe Rogan Experience, and over 3/4, 76% of women said they would not date someone who supports Trump. Apparently, women in this age bracket, the age bracket 18 to 34 that I'm also a part of, prefer men who will go see the Barbie movie and presumably are scared of guns.
For those of you just tuning in, I'm wearing black all week to mourn the Cubs' end of the season. I should be getting ready to watch the Cubs play in the wild card, but I'm not because David Ross can kiss my backside. The Cubs brought up some kid, put him in center field. Seiya Suzuki can't catch a fly ball when they're up 6-5 in the bottom of the 8th against the Braves, and the whole season went to hell. I'm wearing black. Don't at me. Danny Z is on. He's wearing black. It is a coincidence we did not phone one another, but Danny Z has interesting takes, so we wanted to get him on. Deion Sanders is all the rage, and apparently now Deion Sanders is saying that nobody wants him to win when it seems like everybody wants him to win. But you made an interesting comparison. You have compared Deion Sanders to Donald Trump. Give it to me, baby.
So I think it's really interesting that Deion is creating this us against the world or me against the world mentality. And one thing he did a few weeks ago was he did play the race card, right? He said, people don't like me because I'm a confident black man. And the point I wanted to make is that it has absolutely nothing to do with race. What it is he's made himself polarizing. And so what he's done is created a lot of emotion on both sides. The people who are supporting Deion Sanders, which is the majority of people, by the way. This idea that there are a ton of people out there rooting against Deion Sanders is sort of insane. But at the same time, I mean, you look at the ratings for these Colorado games, people are tuning in, whether they want to see him win or they want to see him lose. He has created that because of his bravado, which is very similar to Donald Trump. The people who love Donald Trump love Donald Trump. The people who hate him are tuning in to see him fail. It has nothing to do with either of their skin color. It's totally about the way they carry themselves, the way they talk about themselves, the way they prop themselves up. And that's kind of how we're wired as humans. The more someone tells you how great they are, the more you want to poke holes in them. You get a little bit of this on Twitter, Dan, because you like to, I think jokingly somewhat, go on Twitter and say, you know, how smart you are and how great you are. And what does it create? It creates people coming at you all the time, trying to tear you down because you do that. That's how we're wired.
Yeah, I like doing it. Yeah, I do. If I get 1 out of 5 bets right, I'm not talking about the 4 I lost, pal. I'm talking about the genius that is me. Look, I think Deion is great. I think he's great for football. I think he's got a built-in excuse now when he loses you better get me now, that kind of thing. Everybody hates us. You know, one thing that Glenn Gilbaugh put out on OutKick, and I'm curious your thought on this. You know, he always talks about he's keeping receipts. Well, show us the receipts. What are the receipts? He said, everybody's against me. Show me the receipts. Seems like everybody's for him. Seems like, I mean, how many times does Urban Meyer and Mark Ingram and Leinart and the other guy, Brady Quinn, go out to Boulder? I mean, damn, we seem to like him here at old Fox News.
Yeah, and I responded to that story and said that this is a straw man argument. Deion has created these haters, so to speak, that, I mean, are there some local media people who don't like him? I don't know. I don't read the Boulder Times. I mean, maybe there's a couple of people in that room that don't like him, but hey, welcome to coaching at the college football level. That's the way it works. You think everyone sitting in that Alabama room loves Nick Saban? No, they don't. Some do, some don't. That's part of the gig, man. You're getting paid a lot of money to take some criticism. And that's the part I don't like, is when people take any criticism and make it a bigger issue than it is. That's part of the job. You're going to get criticism. That's the way it works. That's why we pay you so much money. That's why we stick a microphone in your face every 20 minutes. Everything you say is going to be scrutinized. Everything you do is going to be scrutinized, especially Deion with the way he carries himself and the way he wants all the attention. He wants LeBron James on the sideline. Well, guess what? That's only going to create more attention, which with attention comes criticism. I think he likes it. Honestly, I think he loves the I think he's actually trying to create more of it. I think that's the goal here, because I think that's what's working for this Colorado team. And it's not uncommon in sports, really. Remember last year, Travis Kelsey did an interview where he was like, everyone's against the Burrow and the Bengals. Everyone loves. It's like, you were the favorite to win the Super Bowl. What underdogs are the Chiefs? Patrick Mahomes is never an underdog. But teams, players, like they're always looking to create this underdog mentality, even when it doesn't exist. And I think there's some of that going on with Deion as well.
Well, I lived in the state of Ohio for 10 years, actually more than 10 years. And I got to tell you, it ain't Ohio against everyone. Ohio's got everything. Ohio's got a ton of major cities. Ohio's got a big voting bloc. Ohio gets more done. And I'm listening to Ryan Day talking about Ohio against the world because of Lou Holtz. I'm like, are you crazy? Ohio is here. Ohio and the Ohio State University, they're not swimming upstream. They're at the top of the mount, and they have been since the 70s. What are we talking about here, to your point?
I mean, did it work when you coached? Did you ever try to create a false underdog narrative to
Of course.
Right.
Of course.
That's exactly what's happening here. These guys use every piece of that they can get to create that. And hey, if it works, it works.
I don't really watch pregame or postgame shows, and I didn't really see Rodney Harrison referring to what's-his-face, Zach Wilson, as garbage or trash. But when I saw it, I thought he should be fired immediately. I was on those sets, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, man, I would never get loose enough to call somebody a player. I guess I have too much respect for players because I could never get to the NBA or I could never get to be an All-American. But honest to God, I thought Rodney Harrison should have been fired for calling a player trash or garbage. And I thought Chris Jones, the guy he was asking, handled it incredibly well and with a total amount of class.
I totally agree with the second part. Chris Jones absolutely showed incredible poise in that situation. I don't think Harrison should be fired. I don't like the idea. I mean, we want these guys to say stuff. It's the same thing when Sean Payton came out and said the thing he said about Nathaniel Hackett, and then everyone attacked him. It's like, okay, I'll go back to coach speak. No more saying anything interesting. We can talk a little bit about Sean Payton. I'd love to, because it's hilarious that how bad the Broncos are. But separate.
Right.
I like that Rodney Harrison at least tried to inject. And I think, as a former player, I think he looked at Chris Jones, and that's probably how he would talk to Chris Jones off the air. And I think that's really what we saw is like, come on, man. If it was you and me just sitting here talking, I'd say Zach Wilson was garbage, and you'd be like, yeah, dude, he's garbage. We're gonna torch him. And I think he let a little bit of that slip over onto the air. But again, like, I don't want to discourage analysts from saying what they think. If Rodney Harrison thinks Zach Wilson's garbage, like, let him say that he's garbage.
Yeah, I disagree. I think there are certain parameters that you just don't cross. And, there is no apology for that. I mean, what was said about Zach Wilson was said to millions of people. An apology is going to be between the couple, and Harrison did apologize. But I think the two situations are completely different. And both are idiots. I thought what Sean Payton did was about as stupid. I remember when I became the head coach at Bowling Green, I remember I said in a press conference, I'm going to be the first college basketball coach to take over a job and praise the previous coach. I mean, it's just like, because everybody's better. My system, my stance, my culture. And I thought Payton was an idiot as well.
Well, he is. I mean, and it's I'm taking immense joy. I guess maybe I should be fired because now I'm talking about taking joy in Sean Payton's failure. But I wrote about this before. I wrote about this before the season, which was like, I think Sean Payton's a good NFL head coach. I think trading a first-round pick for him was absolutely insane. I don't think he's the genius that's worth that. I think that's where, the discussion comes in where people are like, oh, you're a Sean Payton hater. I'm like, I'm not a hater. I think this idea that he's a top 3 NFL head coach is just false. And so that makes him overrated to me. I think he's a middle, maybe slightly above average head coach. But if you're going to come in and talk trash to Nathaniel Hackett and about how bad they are, you better be better than Nathaniel Hackett. And right now he's not. Nathaniel Hackett was 2-2 through 4 games. Sean Payton's 1-3. He's worse than Nathaniel Hackett. And they look worse. I mean, he gave a ton of trash to Hackett about their offense because their offense looked awful last year, right? Well, his defense is one of the worst we've ever seen. I mean, they gave up 70 points to Miami and followed that up by making Justin Fields look competent. Which one's worse, Dan? Giving up 70 to the Dolphins or making Justin Fields look competent in the pocket?
Giving up 70. Let me explain this to you. When I was a kid, and a Bears fan, you always heard about this game against Washington, and I think it was 73-0. It was like, I don't know if it was a playoff game. I don't know, and I don't even know who won. It was the Bears against the Redskins back in, like, before I was born, or, and I always heard about 70. And then when we were in college and Nebraska was trucking people, they would score 70 once in a while. So in my brain, Danny, 70's got like this mythical number in football, right? So when I saw 70, that to me was incredible, and I felt the same way that you did. Hey, Sean, Hackett may not have been great, but his team never gave up 70, ever. Never.
There's definitely not a current coach in the NFL other than Sean Payton whose defense has given up 70. Not one. There's not a defensive coordinator.
Right.
There's not. Most of the guys around the league weren't born the last time an NFL team scored 70, for crying out loud.
Jesus on the cross. I heard it live, and I thought to myself, well, that's really stupid. Why would you say that? And it goes back to what I've said. The reason I don't like Rodney Harrison's thing is I think that I have no respect for Stephen A. Smith calling athletes trash. He couldn't play at Winston-Salem, for crying out loud. So and the reason I never did say things like that was because I was never an All-American. I couldn't get to that level. I wasn't good enough. I didn't work hard enough, and certainly not to the pros. And then I got this guy talking about Jesus on the cross, this Robert Griffin. It's astounding to me where we're going here, but maybe it's not that big a deal. I don't know. It seemed weird to me.
He says a lot of weird stuff. That's kind of his thing. He did that a lot last year and got a lot of press and praise for, kind of his, like, he would make these weird sexual innuendos. And I don't care for it personally because it feels very shticky to me. Like he's trying very hard to work in and be like, it's kind of like Robert Griffin's trying to be cool, but it comes across as a guy who's really trying to be funny and cool, which is the opposite. We want people who are naturally funny, I think Griffin is not that, and he's such a try-hard. I think that's what we don't like about Robert Griffin. At least that's what I don't like about Robert Griffin. He just comes across all the time like he's acting or he's trying to put on this facade or persona. That's kind of, I guess, why I had a difference, I guess, on Rodney Harrison. At least I felt like that's what Rodney Harrison felt and thought. I didn't feel like he was putting on a show. Like, that's what he thought. Now, I do agree with you, having listened to you say that using the word guard, he could have phrased that better. He could have said I don't think Zach Wilson's a very good quarterback or something like that. Right. But I see what you're saying by calling him trash. But then again, Rodney Harrison, is he a Hall of Famer? He might be. If not, he was on he did play at that level. He did play at an extremely high level.
Really good.
and did play against guys who are. So I don't know. Is there, in your mind, is there a difference? Because you said that part of your reason is you would never say that because you didn't make it, but he did make it. Does that give him any more leeway in your opinion, or no?
There's no question, but I just think when we start calling people garbage and trash, I think that's so dismissive. I think I don't ever get into the whole that's so disrespectful thing. I don't get into that. Like, you know, everything now is disrespectful. Shut up. But I just think it's just a horrible way to describe somebody. And I think it's a product of what we see here on these arguing shows where they say that all the time. And the same thing here with Robert Griffin. To your point about Robert Griffin, I worked with Mark Jones. And I swear to God, Mark Jones and everybody at ESPN told me this. Like, not everybody, but the people that I talked to at ESPN said he's trying so hard to be like Stuart Scott. He's trying so hard. Like, Stuart Scott had a natural cool about him, you know, when he would say his phrases. And they all felt, everybody that our producers, our directors, everybody, yeah, he's just trying to be Stuart Scott and it ain't working. Because he's not Stuart Scott. He's Mark Jones, and there's always differences in people. You know what I'm saying, Danny?
100%. What do they tell you anytime? I mean, I'm sure you got coached at ESPN. What do they always tell you? Just be yourself. I mean, that who out there?
Yeah.
I mean, Stephen A is actually kind of a good example of someone who plays a bit of a character, and it does kind of work to some extent, but he's not playing the character of someone else. He's playing this interesting, unique character that he created. So I guess that's a little bit different. But most of the guys that succeed in this business, as you know, it's because we believe them. We believe what they're saying. We believe that they believe, even if we think they're wrong, we believe that they believe it. And so I think that's the part where we differ with Robert Griffin is like, does he think that? Or is he just trying to make us think he thinks that?
You know, Dick Vitale always had, when he broadcast games, a list of people that he wanted to kiss the ass of. And it was always media guys, writers in the community, Rudy Martzke, all these USA Today writers. He was pretty smart with that. And so everybody wrote nice things about it. He'd go in the media room and everybody wrote nice things about him. I feel like Robert Griffin writes down a bunch of stupid phrases to say. Like, and he's going to get to them. You know what I mean? Like, I'm going to get to this one, you know? And I don't know. To me, that just doesn't play. Last thing before we go. Are you in, out, don't care on the whole Taylor Swift takeover of the NFL?
Oh, man. Mostly in. I know that might surprise you, but mostly in. And here's why. You know, I got a text from my sister-in-law who was like, I'm watching an NFL game tonight because Taylor Swift is there. And it's like, okay, well, this is kind of opening up new pathways in my life to connect with people on something that I'm deeply passionate about. I spend all day with 6 TVs. I'm watching 6 games. And the majority of my family around me, or a big chunk of them, don't care at all. So I like to come on here and talk with people like you, nerds about sports. But like in my personal life, most people don't care what I do. But now they do. All of a sudden, I'm getting texts from, you know, my sister-in-law, you know, my mom's interested. People care. They're watching. So, look, I get what the NFL is doing. It makes perfect sense. This is an audience that they can reach that they haven't been able to reach, and they can't really do it organically. They needed something like this. I'm all for, as someone who's a big fan of the NFL, I'm not one of those people who's like, oh, if you don't understand what intentional grounding is, I don't want you watching the game. Nah, get out of here with that. Everybody's welcome under this tent. Come on, the water's warm. I want as many people watching and interested as possible. And you know what? It leads to them asking questions. Most people who then watch go, hey, and they're genuinely interested. What did I just see? And then someone like me gets to look super smart when I explain exactly what happened. I don't lose patience with it. Like, nothing drives me more nuts when someone's trying to like connect with you watching a sporting event and they're asking a lot of what you might think are dumb questions. And you're like, they're trying to learn. They're they're taking an interest in something you're interested in. Enjoy it.
My wife just did that with me the other night on Real Housewives of New York. I was like, okay, now what's her she's like, Dan, I swear to you, let me get through this and we'll watch it again and I'll explain it to you. That's fair enough. That was fair enough. But she's like, this is my time to watch this show. I'm like, all right. I can get down with that. I'm all in on the Swift thing. I think the NFL is okay to watch. I think it gets a little bit boring for me. I don't know why. It just does, depending on the team. And I think she adds an excitement to it. There's an enthusiasm about her that I kind of dig. And you know what? I don't know. We can be crabby about everything if we want, but I'm all in on it. I was watching today. I was actually watching Fox and Friends, and the person doing the weather declared that the romance between her and Kelsey was fake. And I'm like, okay, fine. I don't care. Just, But again, I'm a guy that watches Real Housewives, watches The Bachelorette, and I watch 3 different Real Housewives. So what do I know? I'm that guy.
I was just going to say the same thing. I finally got around to watching Sunday's episode of Big Brother. That's fake. That's a bunch of actors in a house. I don't care. I enjoy it. Who cares if it's real?
Right.
That's entertainment.
Right. I mean, the WWE was the number 1 sports show according to that website on Twitter, Sports Ratings or whatever it is. It was the number 1 show, non-NFL, like Wednesday night or something like that. Hey, we like fake. As long as it's entertaining, just entertain me. Danny, you entertain me. Thank you, my friend, for coming on.
Appreciate you, Dan.
Yeah, he's the best. I'm telling you. I love Danny Z because he'll give you opinions and, he'll sit there and tell me I'm wrong about Rodney Harrison, and that's an adult discussion. Look, I just don't like people saying garbage or trash. It's just like, what are you doing? But anyway, I get it. No, I really do. I totally understand it. All right. I'm calling him America's moron. And I'm sure that's racist. I don't care. But you are a moron, and your name is Jamal Bowman. Jamal Bowman is a representative out of New York, Brooklyn, the Bronx, wherever the hell he's from, and he's really stupid. He's stupid enough that he decided to pull a fire alarm to open a door, he said. Now, this is a school principal. Now, I got to tell you, most fire alarms don't open doors, but there are some. But Bowman is trying to get us to believe that he was trying to open a door. He was hustling for a vote. Okay, let's hear from America's moron. No good? Uh-oh. Jamal Bowman stands by his... Oh, here we go.
Do you still stand by your statement that pulling the fire alarm was an accident?
I don't know why this has gotten so much attention. I was literally just in a rush to go vote, man. That's all it was.
Mm-hmm. Are you afraid of any repercussions?
I don't know if you could hear that. Did people hear that? I think they did. He doesn't know why it got so much attention. Really? You pulled a fire alarm in the Capitol building? And you don't understand why that got so much attention? Really? Okay. And it just happened to be while you were trying to delay a vote on shutting down the government? Really? You don't understand why it got so much attention when a congressman who is either too stupid or doesn't pay attention pulled a fire alarm thinking it would open a door? I mean, really? I mean, that's you don't understand that? Okay. Yeah, I don't understand it either. I mean, it's impossible. Nothing's going to happen. There's nothing going to happen here. I mean, come on. Let's be serious here, but this guy is America's moron. I crown him call me whatever you would like, but I think you would agree. I do. Look, you can be Republican or Democrat, and I understand that when you are on the side of the perpetrator, you'll defend him. I don't understand that. I'm just going to have full disclosure here. I don't understand how anybody can defend Joe Biden, and I don't understand how anybody can defend this guy. I don't. I get it. Hey, man, he's my brother. I get it. I'm from New York, whatever. But you can't really defend him. You're just showing bias is all you're really doing. There's no way to defend this. I mean, let's be honest. But anyway, it is what it is. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here it is. Actually, I think I'm going to save this compilation of NFL fighting for after we talk to Anthony Gargano. Now, Anthony Gargano is all about Philly. but I'm going to send this off with this. Rory McIlroy. Rory McIlroy has said that they are going to win on American soil at Bethpage in 4 years. They're going to win. They will win at Bethpage. He guarantees the victory. Roy McIlroy says, I've said this for the last probably 6 or 7 years to anyone that will listen. I think one of the biggest accomplishments in golf right now is winning an away Ryder Cup. And that's what we're going to do at Bethpage. Shots fired by the golf community. I don't even know if Roy's going to be there. I assume he will. I mean, you got to play your way onto the team, unless, of course, you're Zach Johnson and you just take your buddies. But the truth of the matter is, shots have been fired, ladies and gentlemen. Shots have been fired. Hey, a biggin named Jalynn Cheney is giving 7 demands. This is a bigot. She's a travel influencer. She wants the hotel industry to give us size-inclusive amenities. Let's hear from the size coming out and getting us plus-size amenity. Here's a biggin having a chat about being a biggin.
I'm on a mission to revolutionize the travel industry and make it a more accessible, accepting, accommodating place for all. The needs of plus-size travelers matter just as much as anybody else, and today I'm going to cover what we are looking for in accessible, size-inclusive hotel amenities. Size-inclusive hotel amenities are crucial for ensuring that plus-size travelers feel welcomed, accommodated, and comfortable during their stay. We deserve an environment that respects our needs and body diversity. These are the exact steps that hotels can take to be more size-inclusive and accessible for travelers of all sizes. Number 1 on the list, provide sturdy, wider chairs without armrests in guest rooms, lobbies, and common areas to accommodate different body sizes and types. Number 2 on the list, ensure beds with strong support and a higher weight capacity, along with providing reinforced chairs and wider bathroom facilities. Number 3, make elevators and hallways spacious to allow for easy movement of larger individuals and those utilizing mobility devices. Number 4, install grab bars in showers and near toilets. Offer adjustable handheld shower heads and raised toilet seats for added accessibility. Number 5, train staff to be respectful, understanding, and accommodating to travelers of all sizes. Number 6, provide pool lifts and handrails at the entry of the pool. This will allow for plus-size guests and guests with different abilities to enjoy all amenities. Number 7, hotel restaurants should have roomy seating options and sturdy chairs, ensuring that everybody can dine comfortably. Number 8, offer larger beach and pool seating. Provide oversized loungers and seating at the beach and pool areas, allowing travelers of all sizes and abilities to be comfortable. Number 9, hotels should provide size-inclusive bathrobes. These should go up to a size 6X and beyond. And hotels should also provide bath sheets or plus-size friendly towels so that travelers of all sizes and abilities can use them comfortably. And last but not least, this is an important one. Display clear and accurate information on these amenities on hotel websites. Include weight limits, seat dimensions, and things like that. And include information on the size-inclusive amenities available. This will help plus-size travelers make informed decisions. By implementing these size-inclusive hotel amenities, hotels can become more inclusive and accommodating. Be sure to hit that follow button for more plus-size travel tips and share this with someone who you think would help.
You know, I got 2 words for you. Eat salad. We'll be right back.
Are you looking for the hottest sportsbook offers? At OutKick, find exclusive promos, expert picks, and the latest odds. Get in the game at OutKick.com/bet.
Chad, also stupid, Keith Olbermann, and his response whenever Aaron Rodgers went down with the, eventually it was the Achilles, but at the time, everyone's playing doctor on social media, and he retweeted one of the doctors that said it could be a Liz Frank foot injury as well. Olbermann retweeted and posted another hashtag sudden Liz Frank due to failure to vaccinate. Well, Rodgers went on Pat McAfee and responded to Olbermann.
Hey, hold on, there's another guy. What's the guy? Keith Olbermann said that.
You love him, though.
Because you're not vaxxed, that's why it happened.
Yep.
Yeah, get your 5th booster, Keith.
Anyway.
He didn't hold back. And Rodgers is back on with McAfee.
Get your 5th booster, Keith, is terrific. Perfect way to handle that.
I'm sure he has.
Aaron Rodgers said a lot in his hit on McAfee, too. He said, don't expect him to be on the sideline anytime soon with the recovery, but that he's hoping to get up in a booth. And he said, he joked that I hope they give me a headset so I can at least give a few plays, call a few plays over the game with what I'm seeing. Seemed to be in relatively good spirits given the circumstances.
If he's on headset.
But a great line about Keith Olbermann, who has just become a complete and total caricature.
Yeah,
and just a loser. I don't.
Yeah.
I just don't understand.
He's playing into it too.
Keith Olbermann was a really good broadcaster and good at what he did on SportsCenter, and now he's become a cartoon, and I don't get it.
Yeah, and then last season, not requiring it. The season prior, you've got Rodgers, who was inoculated, and Olbermann was leading the charge against him, and then soon after, the league stopped.
Hey, good for McAfee bringing it up on a network, by the way, that got sued by Sage Steele because she sued them about speaking out against vaccinations.
That's right.
Yeah, I'm not going to get into it, but he's a man after my own heart, as one who was suspended by his radio show. Look, the goal of the American worker is to get suspended and with pay, and we're not going to get into it, but hey, as a guy that was suspended for a week with pay, I'm all in on it. I ain't mad at it. I'll take it every day of the week. Hey, Anthony, you in Philadelphia are at the center of the sports world. Let's go through it first. Tonight, wild card game, the Phillies. Do we like the Phillies? Are we good with Trey Turner? What's going on here?
Yeah, I think it's an amazing story what happened in the second part of this season. It all began when he was deep into his struggles, Danny, and they gave him an outpouring of love and support that no athlete has ever received. And from that moment on, it's been glorious for Trey Turner. And it's set up this incredible Red October run that's about to happen tonight.
Didn't he like take out an ad thanking people? Didn't he, he participated in it, didn't he? Or am I wrong about that?
Yeah, he was so overcome by what happened that he took out an ad, and it's been like, it's an amazing love affair, and really is one of the most, I think, the most incredible sports stories of the year. That you have this high-priced free agent who had been really struggling bad. And we're in Philadelphia, which has a reputation that is not entirely true. And it was this incredible show of humanity from the fans, support from the fans, which I have to tell you, I'm so proud of. And when I saw that, it was one of the greatest things. And Bryce Harper saw it, and Kyle Schwarber saw it. And they got a little magic. Remember, last year in the playoffs, they were unbeaten at home up until the World Series. And I think they're going to be dangerous again.
You like the team, though. You like, even though it's a wild card, you get in on the wild card. You like the team.
I do. Listen, Atlanta has one of the epic lineups, right? Braves have an incredible lineup and ran away with the division.
Yeah.
But when the Phillies and the Braves match up, there's something in the back of Atlanta's mind. The Phillies stung them last year. The Phillies have a lineup that is really dangerous. They have a good bullpen, and they got a couple of good starting pitchers, including Zach Wheeler, who's pitching tonight. I think they're dangerous.
All right, the Eagles are 4-0. Jalen Hurts is all the rage. A.J. Brown goes from yelling to great to whatever. It's an interesting team. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, it is. One thing, they really are good defensively on the defensive line, right? Like their defensive line is legit. They won the first 3 games basically all day. They control the line of scrimmage. Back end could be a little shaky. The Jalen piece is fascinating because, he got the big contract in the offseason. He's showed some flashes, where he looks like himself. Like he made a couple great throws to A.J. Brown. He recognized man coverage on the outside and was able to hit him deep. Now, what's changed is the way teams are defending them. They're taking away RPOs, RPRs, and I think coupled with a new OC and Brian Johnson, I think you see the offense is kind of hit or miss a little bit. They have a great O-line. They have A.J. Brown, like you said, Devontae Smith, Dallas Goedert, and DeAndre Swift. So they have a lot of weapons. I think it's just they just got to kind of get through this little piece. And I think, being 4-0 and still, being able to navigate this thing says a lot.
Are you astounded that Hurts has been so good? I mean, he gets drafted, third round, and I loved what he did. I know he left, went to Oklahoma, immediately became the starter, bet on himself, that kind of thing. Are you guys like, damn, did you see this coming? Did Steichen, who's now with my Colts, did he see it coming? Where are we at here?
Yeah, it's pretty amazing. The answer is no. I mean, I did not see it coming. When you go back, Danny, to his second year, they make the playoffs. It's Nick Sirianni's first year. They make the playoffs against Tampa. And in that game, he really struggled. He cut off half the field, missed some wide open guys. And there was a lot of talk as to, who was the next guy? Would Jalen be that guy? And he was going to be given that opportunity. And that was last year. The thing about him that makes him special and why you can't count him out is that, Danny, you would love him because all he wants to do is play football. Like, there's no drama. There's nothing around him. All he wants to do is work and play football. And so, it makes sense that he went and spent the summer with Tom House and went over his delivery, and that he did not want to be a part of the quarterback show on Netflix, that he just wanted to focus this offseason on improving and getting better. And I think that's the kind of hallmark of a winner. And I think that's what you referenced at Alabama when Tua got hurt and then going on to Oklahoma is he's got the DNA of a winner. He's a coach's kid who's got that. I'm going to achieve. I'm going to succeed. And he's doing it in the NFL. And I know, we all thought Carson Wentz was going to be the franchise quarterback, and he turned out to be the false messiah. And lo and behold, it's Jalen.
Yeah, who wasn't supposed to be, or at least was certainly doubted. Hey, speaking of this, I got a sidetrack for just a second. I want to get into James Harden and a bunch of stuff. Would the Kelsey-Taylor Swift deal, talk about distractions, would that play in Philly?
I think it plays anywhere. I'll be honest with you. I think
I agree.
It's so big, right? Like
right.
You'd have some diehards that would freak out, but it's so big. I mean, and we actually feel a little connected to it because of Jason Kelsey, Travis's brother.
Oh,
so
yeah.
we're kind of we're indirectly connected.
Yeah, I forgot about that. But yeah, you are connected. I love it. I think it's great. I don't give a rat's ass. I mean, who cares? Go have fun and make the thing bigger. All right. I'm not big on James Harden.
Who cares?
But, right? Who cares? I mean, she makes the spectacle bigger. One thing I didn't understand, I had a daughter that is 25, so she was coming up, and she loved Bieber and Taylor Swift. I didn't realize Taylor Swift was this freaking Michael Jackson Rolling Stones back in the 70s big. You know what I mean? I didn't realize that.
No, I didn't either. And you know that Taylor Swift is from here. She's an Eagles
right,
fan.
Pennsylvania.
Yeah, she's from a Philly suburb, so we get to claim her too. We really are the center of the universe.
Hey, what? You are. I've said it. I'm not big on James Harden. I don't know. Where's Philly on this? Is Harden right? Are we mad at Morey? Where are we at here with this thing?
No, I how can he be right when he doesn't deserve that contract? I mean, I think the bottom line is, let's forget everything. Forget Morey, forget the relationship. At 34 years old, with the kind of wear and tear on his body, would you give him a max deal? I think you'd be insane to do that.
No.
And therein lies right or wrong, right? Like, therein lies like, hey, James, dude, sorry, but that's just it. You've made a lot of money. You're just going to have to win. That's kind of where it is right now. And he doesn't like it. And it's now a matter of time before they move him.
One of the things I've thought about Harden, and I could be wrong. You tell me. I feel like lately he's not in great shape. He's going to have this party. I'm hosting this party at this club. I'm going to this place. I want to fly early to go. I don't know. I know that guys do that. I'm sure Michael Jordan did that, but there was never a question about his intent to win or his intent to be great. And I don't know. Maybe I'm underselling Harden. I've never felt that way about him, I guess.
Yeah, I hear you. The party thing, and that came to the forefront about going to Vegas and doing his thing, and he's a party guy and whatever. Like, to me, I covered Jordan. When I was a young reporter at the Associated Press in Chicago, I covered Mike. And, listen, Mike had late night car games, and they did their thing and, played golf and went right to the arena and the whole thing. So you're right. Mike just won. The difference with Harden is, and I call him the Hassa off of Scarface, the pig that doesn't fly straight. He's a great ball player, all right? He truly is a great ball player. But he's a glutton. He's a glutton for points, for stats, triple-doubles, the basketball. He's a glutton. And look, he was in shape last year. I have to be honest. He was in shape. But the issue was, does he want to play winning basketball? Does he want to give of himself and not dominate the basketball? I think he's an incredible individual talent. I've always thought that. But I don't think as a team he'll ever be able to give up himself enough for a team to win. And I think ultimately that's what you see. I mean, he had 2 really, really good games in the Boston series last year. And then he had a couple horrible games. And he quit in Game 7 in Boston, which is a mortal sin in Philadelphia. They lost to the Celtics, which is a lifelong rival. And they had a chance to win Game 6 down the stretch. He didn't give the big man the basketball but one time in the last 5.5 minutes. That goes back to playing winning basketball. And I think that's the greatest issue with Harden. He's the Hassa, man. Great talent, but he's a glutton.
It's a great way to put it. That's a really good way to put it. And as a glutton myself that can't stop eating, I get what the word means very, very clearly, my man. Hey, speaking of gluttons, I saw some biggin named Meatball stirring it up. Riots going on in Philly. What's going on in Philly, and what's this Meatball character?
Yeah, well, there's all kinds of things going on. There was a social protest that turned into looting in Center City, Philadelphia, where all the shopping district and excuse to raid the Apple store. And it's just unfortunate. Again, we have such a beautiful city. I'm so proud of my city. And it's this stuff that, and you see it throughout major cities in our country. And it's just regretful, man. It really is. And, I'm just hoping that there's some sort of calmness. And last year, during the Phillies playoff run and the Eagles, all of a sudden, violent crime went down to almost nil. And I think sports can save the world. And then I saw it last fall, going into the holidays. It was a beautiful place, Philadelphia. And I'm hoping for the same thing, thanks to sports.
What was your reaction when the stadium, Eagles Stadium, was named the most dangerous in the NFL? Full disclosure, I went there last year for the Army-Navy game, and it was freaking awesome. Now, I know it's not an Eagles game, but it was freaking awesome. Everybody was great.
That's ridiculous. Listen, if it was 1991 and it was Veterans Stadium, I go, okay, well, I get it. But it's not. It's Lincoln Financial Field. I'm there all the time. There's never any issues. That's ridiculous. It's nonsense. And NFL stadiums, every week there's some sort of video of some sort of fight that happens everywhere. I just saw one between Raiders and Chargers fans over this past weekend. So I think that's a bunch of nonsense. Listen, don't taunt anybody. Like if it's Eagles Cowboys and you're a Cowboy fan, don't rub it in people's faces. Then there might be an issue. But it's not, cell block H. All right.
Right. Hey, Anthony, I saw that fight, and I'm going to show it here on my show coming up here in a minute or two between the Chargers and the Raiders fans. The dude gets knocked out, gets knocked silly, and in the video that I saw, there was no security, and the dude just went and sat back down in front of the guy that knocked his ass out.
Yeah, it was kind of, kind of the way it should be, right? It's like, right. All right, it didn't escalate, right. and it ended with both. In fact, the Charger fan was hugging the Raider fan in front of him who was trying to be the peacemaker. He said, listen, that's enough. That's enough. And I was like, you know what? That's kind of like the universe taking care of things.
Right. It wasn't like it didn't escalate into one of those brawls where everybody's just throwing hands and losing. A guy just went and sat down. Like, all right.
I love the Charger fan, man. I did. Because after, I don't know what happened, but after he hits him, he kind of realizes like the guy's had enough because he hit him a couple times, and then he was just like kind of his arms up, and then he sits back down. It's insane. I'll tell you, man. I don't know. I guess it was always like that. I remember being a kid at Veterans Stadium and seeing the brawls. They had security guards that had yellow jackets, and you would see them across the stadium. They look like bees gathering together to kind of break up the fights that would happen invariably all throughout the stadium.
Yeah, I remember that as a kid in Comiskey, south side of Chicago. I remember that you'd see, we call them they were the Andy Frayne ushers. The Andy Frayne ushers were coming, man, and they were coming up. Hey, man, it's good to catch up with you. Enjoy your time off, my friend. Thanks for coming on.
Thanks, Danny. Always a pleasure, buddy.
Yeah, that's Anthony Gargano. Philadelphia it's the sports capital. You got tonight, you got the Phillies going on another run. You got the Eagles sitting there at 4-0. You got James Harden causing problems. You got riots. You got everything. Speaking of fights, I got a whole bunch right here. Now, look, I think fighting at stadiums is stupid, but if you're going to fight, don't fight up. Fight down. Don't go up, behind you, up, no, that's bad business. What the hell's that on my wall? That's bad business. Don't do that. Fight down. You got more power. Fighting up, you lose it about right here, and you're not going to hurt anybody. All right, let's get into this. This is the one that we were talking about. This is the Charger and the Raider fan. Just check out what happens here, particularly at the end. We didn't play the whole thing, but at the end, the guy who gets, we got any more of that one? At the end, the guy that gets knocked down goes back in his seat, 2 rows in front, and the guy in between them kind of just sit there. It's one of the most amazing things ever, but that's a hell of a fight. All right, this one is just insane here. Now listen to this. This is Sacramento, California, the capital of California. The place where, I don't know, it seems like it's just getting more insane. It used to be the place to go, man. Going back to the gold rush. Go to California, find yourself some gold. Let's go. Well, here's the deal. A kickball game. You know what kickball is? It's like a little kid on the playground game with a big ball that bounces a lot. But mommies and daddies and idiots, they just can't help themselves. Check this brawl out and wait, again, same thing. I think this ends with a knockout. Watch this one. Look at these idiots. That didn't end in a brutal knockout. What are you guys giving me these notes for? The first part was the brutal knockout and then the kicking on the head. The kicking on the head. Nick Sanchez of NASCAR got bloodied up in a fight with Matt Crafton at Talladega. This one was big, man. There was a lot of swearing in this one. Here you go. This is nuts.
I'm gonna host that. You're guy, mother.
Man, that dude was all bloodied up. Now, look, here's the deal. If you got a friend that gets bloodied up, you don't need to hold him back. He needs to get his shots in or else he's going to feel bad. So if your friend lost the fight and he still wants a piece, let him go. Seriously, you got to let him go because he wants a piece. He's embarrassed. He's going to have to look at his face. He's going to see that the other guy got the better part of him, and he's not going to like it. And then he's going to get mad at you like, why didn't you let me go? Let me throw some hands here. Now, truth of the matter, the friend who was holding him back probably did the right thing, but I don't like it. When you get your brains beat out and you want to keep going, then keep going. What can I tell you? I don't know. I mean, it seems to me that's the way we ought to go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's a top five. It is a top five for Tuesday. Controversial calls all over the place. Here are, in my opinion, the 5 most egregious, controversial calls or no calls in sports history. You remember the Rams no call? Do you remember the Rams no call that robbed the Saints right here? That could not have been more pass interference. The referee is right there. He is right there. This was only a couple years ago, and I'm telling you right now, that guy right there is probably because the NFL, in the name of diversity, said, screw it, we're going to get rid of our guys that are good, and we're going to keep diverse. But it's arguably the worst non-call ever. Seriously. It was 2018, and everybody decided that, guess what? We're just going to let pass interference happen. This was late in the game. I can set it up for you. This is late in the game. This is Nickel Roby Coleman. And this is Tommy Lee Lewis. It's named the NOLA no call. Pass interference. Next thing you know, no call, backlash. Fans attempted to have the game replayed and boycott the Super Bowl. Robbie Coleman, the perpetrator, admitted it should have been called. Goodell determined that the no call was an act of human error by the referee and not enough to reverse it. The Rams, because there is karma, lost the Super Bowl. There you go. There was a new rule that allowed, in 2019, that allowed coaches to challenge pass interference. That rule was not retained after 2019. I was sitting watching that as a lot of you were going, what? I was watching this game because actually Colorado in 1990 had some ass to them. They had some cachet. I remember this like it was yesterday. They're playing Missouri. The game it's late. Colorado is down, and something was fishy. First down, you usually have a sense. Second down, now there's not as many graphics and things on your television back then. Third down, hold on a second now. If they don't get this, they're going to have to punt. You won't believe this, but the truth of the matter is Colorado scored on a 5th down. A 5th down. Now, against Missouri. And Colorado ended up winning the national championship under Bill McCarthy. who started a thing called Promise Keepers, where a bunch of dudes that were screwing around on their wife used to go to big arenas, fill it, and act like they're good husbands. At least the guys that I knew that went to Promise Keepers did that kind of stuff. But they ended up winning the Rose Bowl, all right? No, they lost in the Rose Bowl to Notre Dame. But that's all right. Next thing you know, they won the national championship with that guy right there. You recognize the name Bieniemy? Eric Bieniemy was a stud running back, as was Rashaan Salam, who won the Heisman. The tuck rule, ladies and gentlemen, which I still don't understand. There have been 30 for 30s written on this thing, and I still don't understand it. I know we're supposed to understand it. I remember where I was. I was in a bar at the bowling alley. I like to go to a bar in a bowling alley because my kids would bowl. The bar was owned by my friend Bill Wamas, and they had great cheeseburgers. So we had an event at Bowling Green, I believe, and that night we all went. We said, hey, bring the kids and let's go to the bowling alley. Well, we went. It was snowing. I remember distinctly thinking, wait a second. Hold on. Why do the Patriots still have the ball? It was a fumble. You know, when you sit in a bar, it was 2001. When you sit in a bar or a restaurant, it was kind of a bar and grill, and you're watching it, you go, huh, I can't hear what's going on. What happened? Well, next thing you know, the tuck rule. Fourth quarter, Woodson tackles Brady. Looks like a fumble. Greg Bikert. The decision would have made a fumble. Oakland would have won. They reviewed it and determined that even though Brady had seemingly halted his pass and was attempting to tuck the ball into his body, it was an incomplete pass and not a fumble under the then effective NFL rules. As a result, the call was overturned. The ball was given back to the Patriots, moved into field goal range, and Vinatieri kicked the 45-yarder to win. I don't get it. I honestly don't get it. He dropped back, no receivers, pumped the ball. Brady was hit on the right side. Brady, while it was appeared he had tucked the ball towards his body, weren't sure, ruled it a fumble, reviewed the play. The tuck rule, when offensive players holding the ball to pass it forward, any intentional forward movement of his arm starts a forward pass. Even if the player loses possession of the ball, he's attempted to tuck it back towards his body. Also, if the player has tucked the ball into his body, then losing, it's a fumble. Yeah, I don't know. I still don't know. I still think it was fixed, but Vinatieri had to hit the hardest field goal of his life. Michael Jordan pushing off Byron Russell and getting away with it. This particularly hurts my friend, Seth Greenberg, because he coached Byron Russell at Long Beach State. Jordan shoved off him, but here's the deal. If you're in a good defensive stance, if you're solid, you're square, and you're not off balance, you really can't get pushed off. Now, easy to say as I'm wearing my black shirt in mourning about the Cubs. Difficult to do when you're guarding the greatest player of all time, at least the greatest perimeter player of all time. I got to tell you. But I think he pushed off. Everybody thinks he pushed off. And you know the problem is? Here's the problem. It was at Utah. Think about it. I mean, everybody complains about home cooking. Home cooking this, home cooking that. They got home cooking. All right, well, guess what? They didn't get no home cooking then. Now, I think, for whatever the reason, I think Michael Jordan cooking beats home cooking. Does that make sense? I think it does. I do. I'm not going to lie. I think Michael Jordan cooking for years and years and years and years and years overcame anything that they were trying to get done. Anything. Anything. In Utah. All right, a couple years ago, and this makes me sad, Jim Joyce was an umpire that had that famous Jeffrey Meyer, you know what I mean? Jeffrey Meyer over the top, home run, and he ruled it a home run and whatever else he did. All right. Well, Jim Joyce was also, and he's a good dude. Jim Joyce is from Toledo, and Toledo dudes are good dudes. And everybody that I know that knows Jim Joyce knows that he is a really, really good dude. But Jim Joyce blew a call. Jim Joyce blew a call that I guarantee you he wishes he had over. Here's the call. Obviously out. And it ain't close. It ain't close. I'm sorry. It ain't close. And Jim Joyce, as they say in the big leagues, kicked it. He kicked it. And this was before, ladies and gentlemen, this was before replay. It ain't close. The ball is in Galarraga's hands. This would have been a perfect game. And Joyce missed it from me to you. There he is. Leland came out. Leland got psychotic. Leland is from the same area that Joyce is. He's from Perrysburg, Ohio. Joyce is from Toledo. Literally 5 minutes from each other. And he couldn't have missed it worse, costing a no-hitter / perfect game. And I got to tell you, I'm watching it right here. It wasn't even close. Now, every team, every player, every guy's got a bad call. Mine is referees did this. You remember back in 2001, Wally Szczerbiak and Miami of Ohio made a hell of a run to the Sweet 16. Well, my Bowling Green team beat them last regular season game. We beat them at home. We played them in the semifinals of the MAC tournament. We were on like an 8-game winning, some kind of winning streak. We're playing Szczerbiak. We're up 1. We got the ball. Under 40 seconds to go. It was more than the shot clock. We got the ball down there. I look and I tell my player, I told my post kid, X, which means I'm looking at him. I want these two guys to cross. I want my post player, Anthony Stacy, with the ball in the right block. I'm not looking at the ball handler. No one's pressuring him. There's no reason to look. I told Stacy and another kid, I think it was Lenny Matella, X, we're going to put X, put him over there. Whistle blows. Boom. 10 count. No pressure on my guy. He brought it up too slow. Long story short, Damian Frierson scores. We miss a shot. We don't go to the tournament. Szczerbiak goes to the tournament, and they get to the Sweet 16. And then I watched the film. I couldn't wait. I watched the film. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10 count. I call the head of officials, Eric Harmon. He comes to my office with my AD and the assistant commissioner of the MAC. I show him the film. I MF everybody within an inch of my life. But every coach has a story like that. Every coach has something like that. Every coach. So the worst call ever. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10. The fix was in. Szczerbiak was handsome. Yeah, that's right. They were fixing MAC games back in 2001. I digress. But why else would you do that? We'll be right back.
Looking for the hottest sportsbook offers? At OutKick, find exclusive promotions, expert picks, and the latest odds. Get in the game at OutKick.com/bet.
What does it say to you when there's these business owners who don't understand your vision of what you have for these places? I mean, you're giving them publicity at the end of the day. Even if you're not giving them the best review on the board, you're still putting their name out there on a platform that allows millions of people to realize their business when otherwise they probably would have just remained, a smaller business.
Yeah, he's a moron. It had nothing to do with how I was ranking the pizza. And he said that. He said a million things, like he doesn't want publicity. He keeps talking about it, but he just hated me. He didn't really know who I was. I'm sure it's the way his politics are, because if you go look at his feed, it's what I'd expect. It's extreme left. And those are the types of people who generally hate me before they meet me. But he said he wanted to yell at me before I even stepped in the store. So it had nothing to do with the review. And he's a clown show. He is one of the worst people. He's everything that is wrong with this country. And that's not exaggerating, but he's made up his mind before he meets somebody, picks a fight, and then, the rest is history. But for me, it's good. It was the most viral thing we've had in a long time.
Yeah. And have you had any other pizza owners from places you covered in the past reach out to you and say, wow, we can't believe this guy? Like, look at the great things that you've done for our business because of the One Bite Pizza review.
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing that's crazy. There's a lot of things that people could cherry pick that people have said about me that be like, oh, he's a bad guy, this and that. Pizza and small business is not one of them. That pretty uniformly across the board. People like Dave, very good for pizza. He's very good for small business. It's how we're doing this pizza fest. Like we get places that would never do it, but it's like we like I did an interview with Lucali, which is one of the most famous pizza places there is. And they're asking Mark, the owner, is like, why'd you agree? We don't see Lucali doing this type of thing. It's like Dave has done so much good for the pizza industry. This guy didn't care. This guy had no answers. He was just a clown.
Hey, I got some NBA stuff, but I want to revisit the top of the show. This was Rodney Harrison. A lot of you are asking me to do so, so I will do it. I'm a man of the people, Rodney Harrison. Well, Sunday Night Football after the game asked stud defensive tackle Chris Jones of the Kansas City Chiefs what he thought about the play, which was actually very good, of New York Jets quarterback Zach Wilson. But it's the way Harrison asked the question. Let's give it a look.
But watching that tape, man, you got to look at this dude and say, "Oh, he is garbage." Like we should really tear him apart earlier. Like I said, Zach Wilson is special, man. You just got to give the guy time. You know what I mean? Wait. Did you say Zach Wilson is special? Yeah. I think he had a special night, but I don't think he's special.
Well, who gives a rat's ass what Rodney Harrison thinks? I mean, he might be right, but you don't call another person garbage on the air. You want to call him garbage, trash, all the other stuff that morons call people? I had Stephen Holder, who swore, he's ESPN's Colts guy. I got him so frustrated, he swore on the air, dropped an F-bomb on our show because he was so frustrated. Call our little radio show trash. It's trash, man. That's the big word. Trash, garbage, well, whatever. But that's fine. But Stephen Holder, never go down to Stephen Holder's level. Then you're an idiot. Rodney Harrison went actually below Stephen Holder. You do not call, in my opinion, a player on a set of a major network garbage. In fact, I think it's so egregious Rodney Harrison should be fired. I do. I just don't think you do that. Were it to be reversed, were that a white man calling an African-American quarterback or player garbage, the outcry would have been unbelievable. Chris Ballard, the GM of the Colts would have cried. Kirk Herbstreit bawling in the streets. And, of course, Randy Moss would have sat in the studio and cried, "We got to do better. We got to do better." If you don't think there wasn't race attached to it, you're completely and totally out of your mind. But, hey, you know what? I don't know what to tell you. A lot of you are out of your mind. I know the code words. I know what's really happening. And that was as racist as it could possibly get. And intentionally racist. And it's all based, my opinion, on the looseness of our networks, including Fox, ESPN, on allowing the former player, the Shannon Sharps, the Michael Irvin, the whoever the hell else you want, to come out and say those things on a daily basis. Stephen A. Smith, I don't consider him a former player. He couldn't play nothing. But Stephen A. Smith calling people trash and garbage, and everything done in sports has to be run through these idiots. And make no mistake, they are idiots. You're not a smart dude if that's what you do on national TV. You want to do it in your friend's house over a beer? Great. You want to do it on a podcast? Yay, Rod, go fight, win. But this is national TV. There's supposed to be some dignity, but it is impossible for a man like Rodney Harrison to get fired in this current climate. But make no mistake, he is a damn fool. More Dungy, less Harrison, and the world, ladies and gentlemen, will be a better place. Speaking of morons, and I say this with absolutely no affection, Kelly Oubre, who literally has done nothing. Kelly Oubre is just a guy. He's played with the Hornets for 2 years. He averaged 20 last year. Remember this, everybody has a leading scorer. Every team has a leading rebounder, a leading assist guy, a leading scorer. So this clown averaged 20. This team wins every year, right? The fan base wants them to win more. But I come from teams where they have no hope, like zero hope within the whole city. And that's not this at all. So I appreciate the fan base of being hard on the team. Yeah, okay. Until they're hard on him. And then we know what Kelly Oubre is going to do. He's going to do what guys with big mouths do. He's going to cry. It's just what guys do. It's not any, no offense, man, or offense, either way. But Kelly Oubre, in my opinion, has done nothing. He should shut up because, frankly, he hadn't done squat. He hadn't done jack. And for him to insult places is ridiculous. He's been in Atlanta. He's been in Charlotte. He's helped neither team win. They've done nothing with him. Now he gets to ride the coattails of Embiid and act like he has done something. All right? There you go. That's good. Okay. I got my fingernails. I think that's a bruise. All right. Masai Ujiri doesn't hold back on Pascal Siakam and the Knicks. Let's hear it. He didn't extend Siakam, and here's why.
Believe in Pascal. We do believe that a lot of our players didn't play the right way last year, and we want to see them play the right way. I said it that we were selfish. I'm not running away from that. We were selfish and we did not play the right way. So let us see it when we play the right way.
Maybe I'll start with the Knicks lawsuit. I think there has been one time in the history of the NBA that a team has sued a team. One time. Go figure.
Well, now it's twice. And if that's the one, it's the one. The Knicks filed suit alleging former member of the organization, some guy named Ika Wachu Adzoman, whatever, shared thousands of proprietary files with his new employees in Toronto. They suggested that Azotam acted as a mole as part of a larger conspiracy that involved head coach Darko Rajakovic, my Serbian brother, who the Knicks suggested helped create a game plan for Toronto as a first-time head coach. I was surprised. I was shocked. I did not know where this is coming from. Rajakovic said, "What I can say is I know who I am. I know how my parents raised me. I know what I see every day when I look in the mirror. I know that there's nothing that I should be worried about. I can't wait for this lawsuit to be over and everyone can find the truth." Well, his boss right there, Massey, said, "I think there's been one time in the history of the NBA that a team has sued the other team on time." Go figure. Yeah, all right. About time. Maybe more people should. See, I like angst, ladies and gentlemen. I like angst. I like anger. I like rivalries. I like people. Trae Young believes that he is one of the most disrespected. You will respect me. I put a ball in a hoop. Everybody's disrespected. Seriously. Think around sports. Every clown is disrespected. If you don't think I've been disrespected, you're just not telling the truth. I don't think anybody cares. I mean, you're a little guy that shoots a lot. You score a lot. You're kind of fun to watch some nights, kind of weird other nights. I mean, I don't know what the hell everybody's expecting you. I don't know. His former teammate, John Collins, appears to take a shot at him in a separate news conference. John Collins, who played with Trae Young, well, he said, "I'd say one thing that has surprised me is the lack of ego here. It's refreshing to have a group of guys want to do so." John Collins is a smart dude. I remember doing a game, Wake Forest at North Carolina. I was really impressed with John Collins. I'd say the one thing that has surprised me is the lack of ego here. I guess he's got to be referring to Trae Young because, I mean, can you name 5 players, 3 players, 2 players other than Trae Young on the Atlanta Hawks? I mean, if they got ego, then God bless you. You know what I mean? I don't know. Rafael Stone, the Rockets general manager, says the knucklehead that is Kevin Porter Jr., who pled not guilty to strangulation, domestic assault, and a variety of other charges, is not welcome in Houston and cannot be part of the organization. Good. Yay, rah, go fight, win. Usually, general managers, coaches, and all personnel Well, usually, ladies and gentlemen, they make excuses for players in the NBA. Usually, if it isn't second-degree or first-degree murder, a player of any ability can do whatever he wants. But good to see Kevin Porter Jr.'s time with Houston looks to be over, all things being equal, unless, of course, this idiot can somehow get out of this. Well, his time in the NBA should be over, assuming the woman is telling the truth. And the stuff that I saw, the evidence that it looked like to me, be hard to refute that she is not telling the truth. The Knicks are going back to a no BS approach with their training camp. They're beginning camp in Charleston, South Carolina on Tuesday. They're channeling their inner no BS mantra. They're going to stay down in Charleston. They're going to stay together. They're going to work like crazy people, and they're going to go back to the day when they always fell short, whether it was against Michael Jordan or the Houston Rockets. That's the mantra. They should go back to the 1971 team of DeBusschere, Willis Reed, Walt Frazier, Earl the Pearl Monroe, Dick the Skull Barnett. We didn't come in here BSing. When we got to Charleston, it was, let's go win this title. And if you're on board, not on board, ask for a trade. All right. Yeah. We're going to beat your ass every day in practice. Yeah, you are, Chris Childs. Yeah. Can't do that in the NBA. Guys cry. Can't do that in the NBA. Guys are fools. Guys don't play hard. Guys don't want to work. Guys don't want to be told what to do. Guys don't want to be yelled at. Tom Thibodeau yells. If you're going to go with a no BS approach and you're going to, quote, beat the hell out of each other, well, I paraphrase, beat your blank every day in practice, then you better get off to a good start, because there is no bigger divas in sports than the NBA player. And there is no bigger finger pointer in sports than the NBA player when things don't go well. Speaking of finger pointers, speaking of BSers, Russell Westbrook doesn't believe in a championship or bust mentality. All right. Championship or bust is not a real thing. It's a thing that people made up. Your brotherhood. You learn a lot more about people. Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. Yeah, that's what we want. That's the Pacers. The Pacers said, we're going to pick up where we left off. Really? Pacers won 35, 25, whatever games last year. NBA is fantastic. I love when NBA players speak. The level of stupid is just off the chain. Yo. Hey, before we get to woke-a-dope, let's go back to America's moron. The great Jamal Bowman, Democratic, I believe, senator, from the great state of New York, I believe the great city of Brooklyn. Now, you got to understand that America's moron, Jamal Bowman, was, in fact, a high school principal. There you go. Seems to be a well-spoken lad. Seems to be somebody that the people are rallying around. And I mean that sincerely, I do. He seems to be a guy that can sling the caca. Isn't that what you got to be as a congressman from New York? I think it is. Here's the deal. Jamal Bowman decided he was going to, well, depends who you ask, delay a vote by pulling a fire alarm or get through a door as he was hustling to get to the vote. Here's what Jamal Bowman had to say as he was asked about pulling the fire alarm at such an inauspicious time. Oops. Maybe we don't have it. All right. Oh, the video's bad. I'm sorry. Yep, the video's bad. Yeah. I just don't understand what the big deal is. I was hustling to make a vote, and I pulled the alarm and blah, blah, blah. Okay. Well, what are you going to do? Have you talked to, man, that other clown? What's that clown's name? Hakeem Jeffries? Boy, that dude. Wow. He's America's Idiot Part 2. But anyway, I talked to him, we did, and I'm not going to share that conversation. I guarantee you, here's how that conversation went. Hey, man, you pulled the alarm, huh? Yeah, thanks. Appreciate you doing that. We were trying to get it done. We'll get you out of there. Don't worry about it. Look at us. Ain't nobody going to touch us. We're good. Guarantee you that's exactly how that went. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, Tonight I'm headed to Illinois State University. Tonight I'm headed to watch Billis speak at a dinner. It should be fun, actually. It really should be. But anyway, looking forward to doing that. Here we go. You ready? It's woke-a-dope time, ladies and gentlemen. Oh boy, post-turtle. You know, he didn't get up there by himself. He doesn't belong up there. He doesn't know what to do while he's up there. He's elevated beyond his ability to function, and you just wonder what kind of idiots put him up there. Man. Now, let me ask you a question. Why did my Siri go off? I didn't say, hey, Siri. I didn't say, I'm not either. Why are you coming on? The deep state. When we talk about Biden, Siri, it's recorded. It goes down somewhere. That's right. You just saw it happen right here. It happens all the time. I didn't say anything about her, him, whatever the hell it is. I didn't, did I? No, but I was talking about Sniffin' Joe, and the deep state wants to know. That's how powerful this show is going. Next! Oh, man. Corporate needs you to find the differences between this picture and this picture. They're the same picture, according to Jamal Bowman. All right, full disclosure. I took my wife to the airport today. It was at 4 o'clock. I dropped her off a little after 5. Had a drive back, 40-minute drive. 6 o'clock, I was in the gym over here. Got a workout in, 30-minute workout. Pretty good, went hard. 3 miles, 30 minutes, what can I tell you? I'm that kind of stud. When I was leaving, I saw a fire alarm next to the door. All right? True story. I was going to take a picture and make fun. Fire alarm said fire, just like the outskirts of this red fire alarm. But in the middle of it, it said pull to open the door. It did. Now, I don't know if that's normal, or maybe it said pull to open emergency door. I don't know. But I got to be honest with you, that's full disclosure. I didn't like it. But I still think he's America's moron. I don't care. I'm sticking by my story, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sticking by my story. I am America's moron, period. All right, let's get into some baseball today. Are you ready? When I was a kid, and a lot of you guys and gals out there will remember this, baseball, particularly the playoffs, were played in the afternoon. I remember Bud Harrelson and Pete Rose fighting at second base, Mets versus the Big Red Machine, the Mets. Well, I love the fact that today we've got all-day baseball starting at 3 o'clock Eastern. Baseball's going to start at 3, and it's not going to end till 11 or 12. And I can't wait. I literally can't wait. Now, I got some things I got to do. I got to drive to Bloomington, Illinois. I got to go to a banquet. The banquet starts at 7 Central. I'm probably only going to stay an hour. But the truth of the matter is, on the way home, I get to listen to baseball, which means I'm going to bet the 8 o'clock game. Yeah, that's what it means, because I got to be interested. It's the Marlins at the Phillies. Now, I can't name you one Marlins player. There's got to be like Luis Castillo on there, because I think he was on the Marlins for 100 years. I can name Schwarber, I can name Harper, I can name Zach Wheeler, and I can name Trey Turner, but I really can't. I think Castellanos is with the Phillies. It's a group of guys that I kind of like. So I think I'm going to take the Phillies, but what I would like to do is, if any of you have any information at all on Rangers at the Rays, Blue Jays at the Twins, Arizona at the Brewers, people are telling me Corbin Burns for the Brewers is no good at home. That means I'm going to take them. And then the Marlins and the Phillies, I would very much appreciate. These games are all fairly close. The Brewers are minus 180, which means you got to pay 80% juice. The Phillies minus 162, which means you got to pay 62% juice. I do know this. I do know that I am not betting on the Rangers. And I'll tell you why. I went to a game early this year. I only went to one Cubs game this year. And at that game, the Rangers played so freaking bad, I couldn't believe it. They were horrendous. They were kicking balls at second base. The second baseman actually went like this on a ball. The right fielder and the center fielder didn't communicate. Then the right fielder dropped the ground ball. They were horrible. I was shocked to learn that the Rangers were actually pretty good. But I ain't betting on them because the team that I saw, to quote Carlos Zambrano, they stinks. So I ain't betting. So I am absolutely going to bet the Rays, and I'm going to bet the Phillies. If anybody has, and I'm going to bet the Brewers. Those three are in a three-team parlay that I'm going to do right now. And by the way, speaking of betting, everybody tells me now hammer the Blue Jays. All right, I'll do that too. Damn, a lot going on. Anyway, the truth of the matter is, ladies and gentlemen, love PointsBet. I love PointsBet. Why do I love PointsBet? I'll tell you why I love PointsBet. Because, frankly, PointsBet is going to give you $1,000. That's right, up to $1,000 in second chance bets. That's right. Now, I don't know if they're playing Chad over me because I hear it, but I hope not. All you got to do is go to outkick.com/bets. And if you do that, guess what, ladies and gentlemen? You are going to get up to $1,000. That's right. How about that? Pretty good. No, pretty good. So, ladies and gentlemen, don't at me about it. Do yourself a favor. I just put in the Rays, the Brewers, and the Phillies. I'm going to hammer the Blue Jays in a separate bet, but it pays basically 3.5 to 1 odds. So why not? What the hell do I got to do? I got 3 favorites, all playing at home. There's no way all 3 of them are going to win, but that's what I'm doing tonight. And I'm on a hell of a heater. I am. I'm on a hell of a heater. By the way, Dylan, great work. Ryan, great work. Nick too, great work. That's 2 of you, so I went with 2 greats. Beth the Booker, awesome. Anthony Gargano was terrific. Danny Z, fantastic. Absolutely fantastic. Don't at me about wearing black. I'm sad. Today, I'm sad. Today, I'm a little pissed, if you want to know the truth. It should be the Cubs at the Brewers, and time would have stopped. It would have, but it's not. So I'm wearing black. Aaron, thank you. Gary, thank you. I hope everybody has a fantastic afternoon. All of you clowns that are on the YouTube chat, I was monitoring it today. You guys are freaking awesome. Thanks for coming out every single day and just making our show grow and grow and grow. Have a great afternoon, everybody. We'll see you tomorrow, 9 o'clock.